Hello students, let's start with the second chapter of class 12th biology, that's reproduction in the flowering plants. When I talk about the flowering plants, that means we are referring to the angiosperms, the plant which produces the flowers. So what are actually the flowers? Flowers are the reproductive parts of the plant. If flower is the reproductive part of the plant, so what are the other parts? The other parts such as the stem, leaves and roots are referred to as the vegetative parts. Flowers have been used by people for various purposes. So that's what I have written at the top, that it can be used for the religious, social, cultural or for ornamental purposes. So let's study what's the importance of flowers. These are the values that are being given by the people, but actually what is a flower meant for? As I have already said, flower is the reproductive part of the plant. So when we talk about the parts of the flower, which we have already studied in class 6 and then in class 10, but let's study in detail how a flower is being formed and why it's important. So flower has 4 important parts which are also known as the whorls of the flower. So these are the pistil or the carpel, the female part of the flower, which is also known as the gynoecium, the stamen, also known as the androecium, the petal, which is the colored part of the flower and is also known as the corolla, the green leafy part of the flower, that's known as sepal or the calyx. Both the corolla and the calyx together form the perianth. So all these terms you should be aware of in your class 12 and is also important for your medical entrance exams. So all these 4 whorls are actually arranged on a swollen base known as thalamus. The pedicel helps the flower to get attached on a branch of a plant or a stalk of a plant. So these are the important parts of a flower. So when is a flower being formed in a plant? The flower is formed in a plant only when the conditions are conducive. So the formation of the flower takes place when the conditions, the time is congenial for the pollination, the fertilization and the formation of the seeds. So before the flower is being formed, there are a lot of events that takes place in a plant. So these all are referred to as the pre-fertilization events in the plants. Okay. So these pre-fertilization events in the plants are being marked by the production of certain hormones, which brings about the physiological and morphological changes. These 2 terms are very important. The physiological and the morphological changes. Physiology is actually the functioning. So there are some functional changes in the plant, and then we talk about the morphology. Morphology is the external appearance. So there are certain morphological changes also. So these physiological and morphological changes are being brought by the production of the hormones in the plant. For example, the hormone florigen that is present in the leaves. So when the florigen is being produced, what happens? The vegetative buds undergo changes. Because of the changes in the vegetative bud, it forms the floral bud. And the floral primordium appears. This floral primordium is actually the rudimentary or the preliminary stage of the flowering shoot. So that means this is the part from which what will arise? A flowering shoot will arise. Now this flowering shoot can result in the formation of a single solitary floral bud, or it can form a complete inflorescence which consists of the multiple floral buds. So this is all like what a flowering shoot will be resulting in. So now the nodes are being formed. These nodes develop the 4 essential whorls of the flower, which are arranged on the swollen base of the stalk, the thalamus, which I have already discussed out here in the diagram. And these 4 essential whorls were which ones? These were the pistil, the stamen, the calyx and the corolla. So whichever flower you talk about, most of the times these 4 essential words are present there. Okay, so this is something very important. So now moving on to the internal part of the flower, one by one we will first start with the male part, the endoecium or the stamen. So stamen is actually the male part of the flower, and the number of the stamen of the pistil may vary from flower to flower or different species. Okay, so one species flower can have only 2 stamens, while the other can be having more than 2 stamens. Then how they are arranged in the flower also differs from again species to species. But remember, the basic structure is the same. The basic structures remain the same. So let's move on to study the structure of a stamen. If you see here, the stamen consists of a long filament which is actually the stalk, and it bears a swollen head. This swollen head is known as anther. And if you see the structure of the anther, the 2 lobes are present. That's why anther is known as bilobed. So there are some important terms which I have written in a different color so as to emphasize its importance. Okay, so anther is always known as bilobed. Why? Because there are 2 lobes of an anther. And if I see the structure of a lobe of an anther, so each lobe of an anther has 2 layers, which are also known as 2 thecas of a lobe. Okay, so these 2 thecas of a lobe you are able to see once you see the side. That's why I have drawn here the side angle of a anther. So on a longitudinal side, you will be able to see the 2 thecas. So each anther, if we see, there will be 2 lobes, which with each lobe consisting of 2 thecas. So in total, you will be having 4 thecas. Okay, so that's when you see and you go 360 degree around it. So you will be able to see that there are 4 thecas, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And this will be pretty much clear when we talk about the transverse section of an anther. Because of the presence of 2 thecas in a single lobe, it is also known as dithecus. So when anybody asks you to explain the meaning of a bilobed anther, you will be saying there are 2 lobes in an anther. When you will be asked about what do you mean by dithecus condition of an anther, you will say each lobe of an anther contains of 2 theca, which is now termed as dithecus. Okay, so I told you that the structure of the anther will become more clear when we cut a transverse section. Here I have given you a view of the longitudinal part. So when you cut the transverse section, you will be able to see a tetragonal structure. Again, understand what you mean by tetragonal structure. There are 4 parts you are able to see. That's why tetra. So it's a tetragonal structure and thus it is of the anther. So in the next video, we will be studying about how the teeth of an anther appears, how the pollen grains are being formed, what are the different parts of this structure, and how the pollination takes place. So stay tuned. I will be back with the second part of this video. Thank you.